Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Hour of Power podcast. I am your host, Knighton, and I am always joined by the lovely, delectable, and the man who needs to stop touching his phone when I'm doing my intro, Mr. Trey. What's up, buddy?
I was looking up some stuff. My bad. I'm super excited for the season premiere of Powerrr tonight. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about new beginnings. What's been going on with you, Knighton? I'm going to tell you real quick what's been going on with me. Been drinking this mushroom coffee, and it's working, man. I feel great.
Really?
I'm ready to review this fucking podcast.
I've thought about getting into mushroom coffee, but I don't know. I can't find it anywhere, and everywhere I've looked, it's too expensive. But I digress.
You can get some cheap stuff off Amazon. I'll send you a link.
All right, well, try it. But
That's good.
tonight's episode, geez, they were throwing out all the stops for championship bouts, and I wasn't complaining.
Yeah,
First,
it was a jam-packed episode tonight. I'm glad to be back on the podcast. We've got big plans for this year too, but we're going to rock and roll tonight with a season premiere on the CW app. We had 3 championship matches tonight, and they were some doozies.
yes, they were. With match number 1 starting off with the NWA World's Tag Team Championship match between Jax Dane and Tim Storm versus Brunt Force Trauma.
Did you notice that the ring announcer even announced them like that? Kind of not so much, didn't accentuate the one part, but yes, but they did just a little bit there when they announced them when they came out. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, I noticed that too. And like, not gonna lie, I really, really liked the setup of Revolution Live. I loved
Yeah.
seeing the crowd
Yes,
and
yes,
how close up everything was. I was like, it's a little too close for comfort, possibly, but at the same time, it was like, damn, this is a really good setup.
it's a very nice break from the TV studio crowd, which is cool and it has its like nostalgic purposes and everything. And I enjoyed it when I went to the taping. But I will say, when I was a kid, when I would go back and watch like old angles that went down at TV studio tapings, I thought it looked lame as fuck because there was only like probably 50 people in the audience, and it just, I don't know, something about it I always thought looked really really JoJo. But I will say this: the older I got, the more I got into it, and the more I thought it was really, really kind of fucking cool. And then, of course, when I went, I thought, "Damn, this is really fucking cool. I like it." But again, I like the fact that they've kind of changed the pace. I like a bigger crowd. I like a different arena, a different entrance setup. I thought it was pretty good, and overall, for the first episode on CW. We're going to talk about that, I guess, at the end of the show. But I thought they kind of, I thought they did pretty well.
Yes, and the crowd was very, very lively, which was a nice change of pace, especially to start off the right tempo for the season premiere and just getting a good showing to those who are getting into the National Wrestling Alliance going, hey, these guys are a big deal. And
Right.
it showed. And especially with the NWA Tag Team Championship match, it it was very fun to watch. Sorry, I couldn't get my words out for a second there. Um, I I enjoyed the right off the rip as soon as they got into the ring, they just went at it, and the bell hadn't even rung.
Yeah, and I like the fact that on his first show on the CW, him being Billy Corgan, I feel like he was trying to showcase. Of course, I'm going to showcase my world heavyweight champion EC3 in a brutal match. I'm gonna showcase probably my best talents and the hottest things that I have going on in NWA right now with Kenzie Page and Blunt Force Trauma being one of the top heel acts, of course, with Aaron Stevens there too. So they were able to establish their main characters on their first show. But I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. Let's review this tag match.
But yeah, both teams go at it right off the rip, and then BFT had a little bit of a collision with one another, which I was like, ooh, you don't see that very often, where they use the team as weapons against each other.
And watching this match, it kept going through my mind because I thought perhaps Tim Storm and Jack Stane would be the two guys to finally kind of take them down, maybe on the season premiere. But I guess if I was a betting man, I still would have went with Blunt Force Trauma, and that's exactly who's got the win. But I'm thinking in my head like, who is going to be the team to finally take them down, because they're going to be majorly over as the team that finally takes down Blunt Force Trauma. And what an outstanding Crockett Cup you have coming up later this year, because you have a stacked tag division.
Yeah, that's a very good question. Who is going to do it? But let's get back to the match here, pal.
We're going to weeds. I'm excited. It's the fucking season premiere.
I know, so was I. So was I. Like when you and I were messaging each other earlier, I was genuinely excited for this show. And yeah, I definitely had my high hopes, and it delivered. It really did.
Okay, so we'll get to the match. My bad.
We'll get back to that. But they go back and forth at it. Tim Storm, Jack Stane, Blunt Force Trauma, they go at it for a while. A couple of good spots in the match that I really liked was Damage throwing Jax into the post and the stairs, and then tags in because Damage wasn't the legal person at the time, and
Right.
just continues to beat down on Jack Stane. And then Damage and Carnage going back and forth, tagging in and out, just wearing down Jack Stane. And it was really well done.
Yeah, built up to a nice hot tag with Tim Storm.
Yeah, and Tim Storm coming in, he was like a house on fire. Jax goes to lift Damage and accidentally hits the ref. And then this is where my favorite part of the match happens.
Well,
I
the
fucking
MVP of NWA,
Mr. Aaron Stevens. He gets in, hits Jax with a loaded glove, and Jax just goes down like a sack of bricks. And then he hits Tim Storm not once, but twice with the loaded glove, and Tim is just standing tall. You're like, oh my
very
God.
confused by that spot. I was like, was this just like a He-Man fucking Hulk spot here? Because he hit him several times, and then he just grabs the fist, and I'm like, was that a block? Was that a botch, or I don't know, was that a planned spot? But either way, it still got me to pop. I was like, whoa.
And when Tim Storm had the claw on Aaron's hand, and just the way Aaron Stevens was just screaming like a scalded dog.
Yeah. Yeah.
I fucking was rolling.
Right. That was great.
And then Tim hits Damage with the claw. And I'm getting ahead of myself here. It was at that point when Tim had the claw on Aaron's glove.
Right.
Damage then rolls up Tim, and BFT retains. I was just like, that was a good way to end the match, in my opinion.
Absolutely. It just takes you back to the days when you had like Jim Cornette or even Paul Heyman, Paulie Dangerously, back in the early 90s and late 80s. You had all these managers and Bobby the Brain Heenan, of course, who could forget him, Jimmy Hart. These guys would come in and interfere in the match somehow, allowing their guys to take advantage of the other or the competitors and pin them. But yeah, this is Aaron Stevens is a absolutely fantastic manager and accentuates this team so much, has gave this team so much character. Um, I just don't know if they could make it without him. I mean, he's everything to this team, man. Everything to this team. Other than getting in and wrestling the match, this guy is just gold.
Yeah, he's cutting the promos, he's putting them on, m letting people know
Came
how
the
deadly
fun
that they are.
drama, the whole
Eh,
deal that he does. Oh my god, it's fantastic.
yeah, I mean, we've always been singing Aaron Stevens praises ever since we started this podcast, and
Right.
hell, even beforehand when we were just fans talking about it, just between you and I, we've always loved Aaron Stevens.
Yes. Yes.
So,
We always
just
cry about how we want him back in the ring.
I know.
Start stable. I mean, just people to protect him. Whatever you got to do, Aaron. Quick matches, whatever, man. Get back in there. Ya está.
You'll stop, man.
Ya está.
Well, we're gonna move on from that match, and we're gonna talk about promo number one. The delectable Mr. Mims talking about his match next week.
Yes,
Eh,
I enjoy.
This promo was very interesting.
Yeah, it was shot a little bit differently than normal on NWA. NWA is usually kind of an old school way where the commentator is you're at the booth and you're talking about your opponent. This was shot a little bit different, which you kind of have to try some different stuff now that you're on CW. You want to stay on CW. You want to continue to get that money to roll in and get a little bit creative and think outside the box, and I think that's what they were trying to do here, and I enjoyed it. It had a very sports presentation to it, so very seriousness to it, and it just built up anticipation for that match with Max.
Yeah, and Mims stating that very few people have pinned him. Mims in this promo was extremely, extremely confident that he was going to walk in for his sixth title defense and retain the men's television championship and win the women's title.
Yes.
And then he was just going to relinquish it because he doesn't need it. He's one title defense away from his shot at what he stated his world's heavyweight championship.
Mm. I smell a heel turn. Smell that?
Yeah, all it smells like garlic.
Oh, what the fuck have you been eating?
Garlic brats. But that's
Okay.
neither here nor there.
The audience can now smell your breath.
Oh no, it's literally sitting over on the count. Never mind. Fuck
Okay.
it. But yeah, I like this promo. This was very good. It was a very different style from what we're normally used to seeing. And
Right.
granted, we see it here and there, but not often do we see it. So it was just a nice change of pace once again. And this was a reoccurring theme, a change of pace when it comes to what we're used to seeing. So
I
hopefully
like.
they keep going this way, but we'll see.
I'm very excited about next week. I think it's coming. I think Mims is about to get his big shot, and I think he's gonna unify the television titles into one television title. We really need to make him that belt that he's been wanting and send it to NWA and say, look, you need to make this for Mims if
Are
he
you,
does next week.
are you gonna fucking pay for it?
No, I'm saying I'm going to design it, and
Oh,
somebody NWA needs to pay for it.
I was about to say, if you think I'm paying for
Look,
shit, I got things I gotta pay for,
if
pal.
Mims lets me manage him, then I might pay for it.
Oh my god.
I don't know. That would be the markiest shit that I've ever fucking done for wrestling.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
then everybody in the back would be like, Mims, did you purchase this for yourself? No, this fan from a podcast bought it, but I gotta let him I gotta let him be my manager in a couple of matches. That's
Trey,
the
you
only.
were just digging yourself your own
Okay.
grave. Might as well just
Okay.
stop where you're.
Not. We've got a big announcement on that. Something you shit on last week, but we've got some. I got to drop that at the end of the podcast.
Oh
Don't
God.
forget. Don't let me forget.
Oh, I intend to 100% make you forget.
Damn it. Okay.
Well,
Move on.
promo number 2, Matt Cardona. The internet title is still the thing? Question mark was my big thing.
Mm-hmm. Let's
He,
show it off.
yeah, no. Talked about how when he came to the NWA, he was here to do 2 things. Number 1, save the NWA, and number 2, be the world's heavyweight champion. He's claiming that he's still the rightful NWA champion because he never lost it. How many champions have there been since he relinquished the title? Here,
Two?
I'm gonna look it up. I don't remember, and
No, three.
I forgot to take notes.
3. Trevor Murdoch. Then I want to say Brodus Clay.
Yeah, because it was vacated June 11th, 2022 at Always Ready. And then Murdoch won it on that day. And then Tyrus and then EC3.
Yes.
So there have been 2 other champions prior to EC3 getting it. I'm sorry, but you're not the world's champion.
Well,
Granted, yeah, he was never beat for it.
For a while.
He was never
But
beat.
it is a little bit like, let's say if Braun Strowman comes back and he's like, Roman Reigns, you won that world title in a triple threat. I'm still the world champion. It would just be kind of like, no, dude, you're not.
Yeah,
That's forever ago.
Yeah, it's like, okay, if let's say, yeah, you relinquished it, and then it's only been one person who's held it since you relinquished it, and then you came back, you're like, hey, I never truly lost the title. Boom, that I can make sense of.
Mm-hmm.
But when you've got 2 other champions, sorry, no.
Well,
plus I've never really cared for Matt Cardona either.
Oh,
so.
My goodness.
What?
I like Matt Cardona. You didn't like him as Zack Ryder in WWE?
Nope.
And you don't like his indie god gimmick?
Nope.
Oh. Do you prefer him more as a heel or a face?
Neither.
Ooh, you're indifferent on him. You really don't give a fuck about him.
Yeah.
So it's not even like I like him or hate him. It's like, just fuck off.
Mm-hmm.
You've got that fucking X-Pac heat. Get the fuck. Fuck it. I couldn't figure it out. I'm like, look, X-Pac, excellent fucking athlete. Decent on the mic. A little annoying kind of at times, in my opinion. But, he's good on the mic. Great talent. Could work with anybody. Why was he labeled X-Pac heat?
Because he was such a shit magnet.
Wasn't he? He was on every show, and it was like his little skinny legs jumping up in the air and crotch chopping. You just like, fuck this guy. God damn it, fuck this guy.
Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Like, I've been around Matt Cardona once or twice. Seems like a nice guy, but I was never my cup of tea.
Well,
so there's that.
I thought he was able to reinvent himself. I was never really a big fan of WWE. Never really understood, like, like as far as like he had this kind of following in WWE, and I'm like, I just don't get it. He's not that great in the ring, and he's not that great on the mic or anything. But I don't know. Whatever. I like the fact that he reinvented himself and has become a heel and everything. That was so much different than what he was doing in WWE, so I respect that.
Yeah, I guess it's a nice change of pace. You know what? I'm glad that he's finding more success on the indies, but he's, like I said, he's just not my cup of tea. You like chocolate, I like vanilla, but
all right,
we can always fucking cohabitate in harmony.
Wait, you like vanilla over chocolate?
Vanilla bean or yeah. Yeah, I'm more of a vanilla guy over chocolate. Why are we having this moment of silence?
I can't wait till we yeah, because the face that I was making when you just told me that was like, what?
Dude, I had the straight stone cold killer face of just like, yeah, I said that. I don't give a
I'm
fuck.
telling you, the video podcast would have been great for that.
Oh my
That
god, I know. That would have been one of those moments where everyone would have just been like, you hear the record scratch, like, what?
yes, yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ, this
Right.
Dr. Pepper's kicking my ass. All right, well, let's move on to match number 2. This by far was probably my favorite match of the night. Tiffany Nieves versus Kenzie Page for the Women's World Championship.
Yep. I believe this was my match of the night too, as far as just pure in-ring performance.
I mean, the crowd was really, really, really behind Tiffany.
Yes, they were.
Oh my god, I was like, damn. And yeah, she brought her A game. She really did.
Yeah, she did. I thought she worked her ass off in this match. I thought Kenzie Page also worked her ass off and was able to really work up the crowd as well. Like she was pretty much saying, "Look, boo me, cheer her, fuck every one of you. I'm gonna keep smacking my ass in your face, like literally." She kept smacking her ass.
I'm well aware.
And it was, I mean, it was great. It played to the crowd great. It got the crowd fired up. And Tiffany is just, she's tough as fucking nails, man. I mean, some of those chops were pretty brutal. Enjoyed this match. I thought like I said, I thought it had the best in ring performance. But, Kenzie Page, she's an old heel. She's going to pull something out every time.
I mean, yeah, my notes I have Kenzie was extremely athletic in this match. She was just able to go, and Tiffany was just right on her tail the entire
Yeah,
freaking match.
in a lot of women's matches, I'm not trying to sound sexist, but in a lot of women's matches, they get blown up very quickly, meaning they get out of breath very, very fast. So then the match usually slows down in pace. Not this match though.
But
This match,
there are definitely plenty of men's matches that are the same
oh
way. You're like, oh my god, you are blown
yeah,
the fuck up, and it's
yes,
30
you're right.
seconds in.
Especially heavyweight matches,
Oh god, yeah.
or well, first trauma times. Anyways.
Well, we don't talk about that. The transition into the crossface that Kenzie did, that was really nice. I liked that too.
Anyways,
Um,
very good technical wrestler, and so was Tiffany. So this was a great matchup. I would like to see them build Tiffany back up and have her go back after Kenzie Page.
oh god, yeah. I think when the time's right, that'll definitely be hey, that's a pay-per-view match right there.
Right, but she does work better as a heel. Tiffany does, but it worked. I mean, this match worked. The crowd was really into it, despite them both being kind of heels. Obviously, Kenzie Page was the main heel. Everybody was pulling for Tiffany. Kenzie Page was working the crowd. I think this was a way to really introduce your champion to perhaps a brand new audience as well with the CW app.
Mm-hmm.
So this was kind of like, this was a very good match, but make no mistake about it. To me, this was to really showcase your champions. And that's what I think you got all show long really was just showcasing. These are our main champions. These are the people that we are really, really getting behind.
Mm-hmm. Because I mean, you saw it with Mims, you saw it with EC3, you saw it with Kenzie, you saw it with Blunt Force Trauma.
Right.
Everyone was shown. And here was a couple other spots that I really dug within this match. When Kenzie goes to hit the Kenzie cutter the first time, that spine buster that Tiffany delivered. Oh, dear Jesus.
So I'm saying Tiffany is she's a pretty stiff worker, or at least she made it look like it was pretty stiff. The
Oh,
spine
God, yeah.
and the chops in the match and other moves that she performed were just like, man, she's snug. But I enjoyed it. I like that. Sometimes you get some women's matches they're just not they're not physical enough to my liking.
Mhm.
But I've been very, very impressed with the NWA women's division. It's very physical. I just love the whole entire division. The division is really, really good right now.
Yes, I'm on that sentiment too. And here's another one. Uh a submission that you rarely see anybody do it because one, it's kind of a hard move to set up, but it looks so fucking devastating. The Texas Cloverleaf.
Yes, yes, that used to be my finisher when I played wrestling video games. I love that finisher. Dean Malenko used it back in the day, and then Fit Finley started to use it. But the Texas Cloverleaf, not sure who first came up with that. Obviously, probably somebody from Texas. But yeah, one of my favorite all time finishers, man. I love it. It's pretty much the sharpshooter without putting your leg through the opponent's legs. It's very similar, anyways.
Yeah, and like there are only very few people that have used it. Yeah, like you said, Dean Malenko, Fit Finley, Sheamus,
Yes, yeah, Sheamus, yeah, Sheamus did a good one.
and
It's
then
a hard move to do. Obviously, growing up with older brothers and younger brothers, we were practicing moves on each other at a time. So it was kind of you had to kind of like take the leg and really snug it up in there underneath the other leg, right up underneath the knee, and it's kind of hard to like keep it there. It's bent kind of awkwardly, and then you have to, of course, turn it over, which is extremely hard to do without the legs, kind of falling apart. So yeah, a very tough hold to put on. I was impressed that she put it on her because I've never seen her pull out that move. I've only seen like 3 or 4 of her matches, but I've never seen her try to put the clover leaf on anybody.
oh, here is the redown because I was actually kind of curious of who invented the cloverleaf. Do you want to take a guess at who invented it?
Oh, I have no fucking clue. Dory Funk Jr. I
You
don't
would
know.
actually be correct. It was Dory
What?
Funk Jr. Yep. Here's the
Holy shit!
here's the Wikipedia. The wrestler then steps over the opponent, turning over into a sharpshooter and a Boston Crab, then proceeds to squat on the back. This move was invented by Dory Funk Jr. and popularized by Dean Malenko. A variation of the cloverleaf performed by Eddie Guerrero saw the wrestler perform the maneuver from the standing position.
Yes.
The fact that you guessed it 100% on the fucking dot.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. And that was just a shot in the dark. I was like, okay, Texas. Who is from Texas? Famous wrestler from Texas that like to put holds on? Dory Funk Jr. I was gonna say Terry Funk, but I was like, no, it probably dates back even further than that.
Well, I am proud of you, Trey,
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
but
Where is my championship?
up your ass next to the football. But
Oh,
Kenzie
you bet
attempts to
your
grab
money,
the.
mommy and daddy button. Hey, in this new intro song that we're getting made, can we have somebody, put that in there? Because it's a nice little insider joke on the podcast.
I'm editing the intro once we get it, but I'll put all that together, and then when we get the video and all this other crap, people will find out.
We need somebody to sing us an intro with some.
No,
Oh my God, please.
no, 'cause I want to have like audio bites of us making fun of one another.
Oh, well, yeah, I like that too.
So, but
All
let's finish off this match before we fucking go off on a goddamn tangent like we always do.
right.
Ten, bleh. Kenzie attempts to grab the Burke, but she fails, which was the plan. And then she grabs something out of her boot, sprays Tiffany with it,
Hairspray.
hits the Kenzie cutter, and that was it. And my God, this was a damn good match. Like I stated earlier, match of the night by far.
I love that finish too. It's so funny. He just pulls out the hairspray, or I'm assuming hairspray, is right in the eyes. Kenzie Cutter, boom. This is our heel champion. She cheats to win. You know, welcome to the party, CW audience.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
God almighty. You have to burp every podcast?
Fuck, dude. I've been drinking Dr Pepper. Okay.
All right. That
Like
stuff is
I'm,
nasty.
huh?
Stuff is fucking nasty.
This deliciousness.
I haven't been drinking any sodas probably. What do y'all call them? Pop there?
No, we call them soda.
Okay. Well, oh, don't get hot. I heard they called it pop up north.
No, we don't call it pop.
Hey, who wants a pop?
I mean, probably New York in that area does, but here in Wisconsin we don't. But I will
Like
say this though. Is it a water fountain or is it a bubbler?
water fountain here.
Yeah, I call it a water fountain, but in Wisconsin in the mostly yeah, it's actually just a Wisconsin thing. We call it a bubbler. I go,
Hey,
it
hey,
doesn't
go get
fucking
the
bubble.
bubbler.
It doesn't
Go,
bubble.
go drink out of the bubbler over there if you're thirsty.
Yeah. Oh,
The
hey, you got your maple syrup, and then you got your water bubbler there, pal. Hey, Trey, I heard, did you hear about that? The Legion Hall down there is having a Friday fish fry, and then on Saturdays they've got the spaghetti dinner. Then afterwards, when you have the spaghetti dinner, they have a maple syrup drinking contest. You know what first place
well,
is?
oh, but I don't get out past 7 p.m. Plus, my favorite show, Fargo, is coming on.
Oh, damn. Well, I figured I would just let you know what the first prize is for winning the maple syrup drinking contest there, pal.
Well, maybe we'll go ice fishing later. How about that?
Well, it's too warm up here for the ice fishings right now.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
What the fuck?
And scene. And we've lost our audience.
Yep, they have fucking tuned out. They're skipping ahead. All right. Promo number 3, EC3, the Overman, talking about the death match that is coming up next.
Did you notice he was holding the Ohio Valley Wrestling Heavyweight Championship?
Now, is it because if I'm not mistaken, I think Jack Vaughn actually has the world title. I don't know.
He does now, but I guess he filmed that promo then, which was back January 14th.
Here, let me look at something really quick.
So,
I'm actually going to look it up because I don't know what titles they exactly have. So, yeah, I want the roster. God damn it, he's the national heavyweight champion, and then Jack Vaughn is the world heavyweight champion.
oh, okie dokie. That's a little confusing. Okay. Wait, the world heavyweight champion in Ohio Valley Wrestling?
Is Jack Vaughn.
No, the world heavyweight champion is in a promotion called Ohio Valley Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Okie dokie.
Listen,
All right.
I don't make the rules.
Hey, I've been kind of watching them here and there.
Which actually, I'm gonna do a quick plug. Saturday, March 2nd at in Rothschild, Wisconsin, at the EverCon convention, Jack Vaughn will actually be making an appearance for No Regrets Wrestling for his show Organized Chaos.
No Regrets Wrestling. I know the who owns that place.
I know the schmucks that run that company.
Yeah, well, we need to do a little podcast for them and get him on here. I want to bust chops. I haven't talked to him in a long time.
I know. Christ, I think the last time I talked to him was like actually in person was
Been a little bit.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute. But yeah, I figured I'd just give that a little
on here
plug.
Plug his show, and we'll do a whole podcast for it. We can have a wrestler or two on here to interview.
Mhm.
It'll be thin.
It'll be fine, but
Oh, I got some big news to announce for next week's show. Oh God, I almost forgot about it too. Don't let me forget about it. It's really big.
oh my god, what announcements do you have, pal?
I've got, and I forgot to brief you on it on the pre-production
Oh
meeting.
my
Yeah.
Jesus Christ! All
Hey, you're
right,
gonna.
well, you know what? Let's just move on to the ultimate match of death. Let's
Okay.
get that out, and then we'll discuss.
Okay.
So, the ultimate match of death: EC3, the Overman versus the King of the Death Match, Indie God, Matt Cardona. There's
Right.
too many fucking names here, pal. Oh my god. You know, the fans were split between the two. It honestly, it more sounded like fans were rooting for Matt Cardona than EC3, though.
Well, he's built up a really, big indie audience, and that's kind of what you have with NWA. You do have an indie audience. They're not as I would like to think the NWA audience, especially after going to a show, are a more sophisticated and mature audience compared to like your typical indie wrestling fan. But at this show, at this arena, at this place, maybe you know, maybe you've got a younger indie wrestling crowd and they're gonna cheer for Matt Cardona all day long because he's in like he's a indie horror basically. He's in GCW, MLW, NWA, fucking every fucking promotion you can think of. So yeah, of course he's gonna get the love because the dude is everywhere.
Yeah, the match. I'm not the world's biggest fan of the super hardcore matches. It's not really my bread and butter and my cup of tea, but
Yeah.
I mean, it worked. It was interesting. I will say. I thought they were gonna go like one direction, and then they went the opposite, and I was like, okay. Uh, they definitely pulled out all the stops and everything but the damn kitchen sink. I was waiting for the kitchen sink, honestly. To me, you had the golden door, the golden chairs, the fucking golden guitar, the golden table, golden light tubes, the golden box, golden thumbtacks,
You're forgetting.
the figures.
There you go.
I was just like, good God. And
Yeah.
EC3 getting busted open by that chair shot when he and then goes right through the table. I was like, ugh, that sounded like that hurt. And then they pan over to EC3 and the screen goes to black and white. And I'm like, oh, great. I got to watch a match in black and white now.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was like my only bitch about that. I was just like, oh. I was
Okay.
like, I want to see some blood, but at the same time, I understand why they had to do what they had to do.
So you wanted a big match for your season premiere on CW. Maybe this was not the type of match you put for your season premiere. And here's why I say that, because you probably had to do the black and white. There was probably something, in the contract or something with CW where they can't show the actual blood, right? So that's why I'm thinking it went to black and white, which I did not enjoy either. Being the first episode, wouldn't you want to put a match like that on pay-per-view where you can get away with that? Where it can become a spectacle, where you can take your time, where you're not constrained by, TV time and all this other stuff. I just felt like that should have been like a pay-per-view match. Um, and I know you're like probably groaning like, I don't want to see that on pay-per-view. But if you're gonna do that match, do it on a gimmick pay-per-view or something. Just it's not the type of match that should have ended their season premiere, in my opinion. Wasn't a bad match. It was entertaining from a like a gore standpoint, but I just felt like he could have. I don't know. I'm more anticipating EC3 versus Mims or EC3 versus Thrillbilly now. EC3 versus shoot. I don't know. I'm just saying that my point is that this should not have been the main event for season one. EC3 should have been in the main event. Don't get me wrong. No doubt. He's your world champion. This is not the type of match that you want to put on your season premiere. That's just my opinion. It's a very strong opinion. I might get some backlash for it, but I just think if you're going to try to get away with a match like this, you got to put it on something other than the CW app because it's going to get, it's going to get messy.
I agree with you. This should have been the finish of the season premiere, but at the same time, I understand why they did it. It would draw people's attention. Okay, what is this like?
Attention too, yeah. I was really excited about it, but then when it went to black and white, it dawned on me. I'm like, holy shit, they're not going to be able to get away with a bunch of gore or whatever on CW.
Yeah,
especially shit that they were doing. But yeah, it's not like I enjoyed the match. It's just I just didn't think it should have been the on the season premiere. Where you're limited, you're in your first ever episode on CW. You're showing your audience that, well, we're limited to how violent we can get now. It'll go to black and white if there's any kind of blood.
mm-hmm. But I do agree with you. That 100% could have been a pay-per-view match, especially with that gimmick and everything that went. That 100% could have been a pay-per-view match.
I really enjoyed the finish of the match.
Oh, so did I. I think it would have been better off as a pay-per-view match.
I agree. That's what I'm saying too. I mean, you could have just maybe had them face each other here, and you get some kind of screwy finish, and you build to a pay-per-view. But now, with hard times, not being a pay-per-view, maybe I don't know. Maybe it did make sense. I don't know. But yeah, I would have built it to where it was not on the CW app, where your audience could have really got that gore, and kind of really, it just kind of took away from the match as well. But like I said, the finish I really enjoyed, and they really, were trying to establish like, hey, this is EC3, this is our main guy, this is our, John Cena, Hulk Hogan, this is the dude that we're, putting everything behind. And yeah, that's ultimately what I took away from this match. How about
you? Oh no, I agree. I really do. You're showing yourselves off to not only your mainstays of your fans, but you're showing yourself off to new fans. And I think something along the lines of a hardcore death match that should be with time, not right off the bat. But other than that, if you would have taken just the first two matches and probably a match that's going to happen next week and put those on the show, I 100% would say this was the best showing to new fans. And then you slowly start to build that up. I think, or hell, you could even have the ultimate match of death as the season finale.
Right. Yeah,
but if you're going to put that as a season finale, you're going to have that on the pay-per-view.
If you're thinking about it, if you're getting a new audience, any kind of new people, to the CW app that's like, hey, what is this? NWA wrestling? I like wrestling. Oh, kind of old school wrestling? Let's check it out. They aren't going to know the feud with EC3 and Matt Cardona. They're not going to know the past really that much. The video package wasn't detailed enough to tell that. So, like I said, it should have been a match built up even more, maybe on a season finale, or or you could have done this match and not made it a ultimate death match and just had, like I said, a screwy finish. Where does Matt Cardona go after this, really?
Yeah, that.
I think he's pretty much done with NWA, at least for a while. Would be my guess.
Well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Yes, it
So,
will. It'll be interesting to see who EC3 takes on next. I'm guessing Mims, but we'll find out soon enough.
or Thrillbilly. We don't know.
Yeah.
But that is the 3/4 hour of power. So, Trey, the floor is all yours. What are your announcements, pal?
All righty. Here we go. Next week on the Hour of Power, Kara returns to the
Oh,
hour. Oh, yes. So we're going to ask her many questions. It's going to make her nervous. She's not going to like it, but she knows the drill.
you mean you are going to ask her a lot of questions?
Yes. The questions the fans want to know. We're going to go straight to the NWA chat and we're going to ask all of our NWA universe or fans or whatever the fuck we call them. We're going to ask them what they want to ask Kara. And I'm sure Brody will have a very interesting question. We'll let you read off Brody's questions.
I'm not fucking reading off
He's
Brody's
your favorite.
questions. No.
He's your
Hemorrhoids are more favorite of mine than Brody.
May even like do a cameo one day and have Justin back on. No, maybe, nah.
If you
Possibly.
could see my face right now.
Yep, that's why we need the video cast thing.
Well, when I fucking move, we'll work
I've
on
already
that.
talked to her about it. And she's going to give us a report from the NWA territory, JCP, coming up February 9th
Oh,
in Kingston, Tennessee.
well, speaking of the NWA territory of Joe Kazana Promotions,
Kingsport. Oh my God. My bad.
would you also like to announce your little endeavor, or shall we keep that a hush hush?
Well,
Sorry.
I tell you what, we got to leave something for next week. How about that?
Oh, for fuck's
Because
sake.
Kara will be a part of this announcement because she's behind me 100%.
Oh,
Where you never backed me, you never had my back on
oh,
this. My God.
fuck you, pal.
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay. No, you're going to be one of the. Well, we'll talk about it off air.
You know what? I had your back when you had said, "Hey, this is something I might do." Okay, go for it. Best of luck to you. I'm not gonna stop you. And you're shitting on me like, fuck you, buddy.
Yeah. I can feel your lips through the phone. I know what you're thinking. You're going to laugh your ass off, though. You're going to love this announcement. It's coming up next week. I'm like Tony Khan. I got a big announcement every week on the podcast. That's why you got to listen. I always got the big announcements.
I'm just gonna shake my head and just pretend you didn't say that.
All right. Well, I'm on coke like Tony Khan. Another announcement. Big announcement. How do you get so on nerves? Sorry.
Oh my god.
And that's all.
Shall we announce the possible news, or do we want to iron out some details before we announce it?
Oh fuck.
As regards to the other endeavor.
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
So Trey and I had been doing some talking, and due to the fact that we record the Hour of Power podcast usually on Wednesdays or Thursdays, and I can usually work with Trey's work schedule because those are my days off of my normal job. It would be hard for us to have a wrestler, or i.e. Kara, come on and do the podcast. So what Trey and I are going to be doing is we're going to be starting a second episode. We have a tentative name for it, but we haven't ironed out all the details and whatnot. So we're gonna have a second show, and just whenever we do an interview, that will be the newest episode of that podcast.
Yes.
And also, what we're going to do is instead, because I mostly run the social medias for our Power podcast, instead of running 3 or 4 social media accounts for these shows, I'm just going to take the Hour of Power podcast Instagram and turn it into the podcast network that we're going to be developing, because not only can we use it for the Hour of Power podcast and the new show, but we can also promote other shows that we decide to come up with, or if we have other people join us, we can have their shows on there as well, and we already have an established audience. So, and if like another show wants to go, hey, I want my own social media, all right, you fucking run it, you have fun, you build your audience, but you'll be under our banner. So it's just a new endeavor for us as well, just to make things a lot easier on not only ourselves but easier on talent to get them in. So I think it'll be, for the better, and it'll be a good um side quest, you could per se. I don't know. Words are hard
A
sometimes.
podcast.
Yeah,
So,
new endeavor. So
yes. It'll be very, very exciting. It'll be a fun little podcast that we do from time to time whenever we can get a guest. Not saying that it will be weekly. We are saying that when we do find somebody to come on, we'll shoot the shit basically and talk to whoever we have on, which could be, somebody was asking, it might have been you, Knighton, like, or are you just talking indie wrestlers? Or no, it was Logan I was talking to about it. um, no, it could be indie wrestlers. It could be somebody off the NWA roster. It could be a ring announcer, somebody who does graphics in wrestling, somebody who's a promoter of NWA territory. Um, we'll reach out to whoever, and we'll try to put this show together. We're really excited about it. We do need some. We might need some help. We might be looking for somebody, a backup on the podcast as well. Meant to talk to you about that. But that's why we got Logan right now. But never hurts to have too many backups. If you are experienced in podcasting, that will definitely help. We're not going to let any Joe Schmo on here. So definitely have, be a little bit experienced in it, and all that good stuff, or at least in talking. Um, but yeah, that's about all I got. I do have one other thing. If you do enjoy this podcast, um, looking at putting together a little podcast on, it'll actually be a video cast on the Gorilla Press wrestling page. Seek that out, Gorilla Press wrestling news page. We'll be doing a podcast whenever huge breaking news comes up in the world of professional wrestling, like the Vince McMahon saga, um, everything with The Rock, TKO, lots of stuff going on right now in the world of professional wrestling outside of NWA as well. So look for that to drop pretty soon. And yeah, I think that's all I got. Damn, that was a plug. Whew, I fucking need some
wow.
water after that. I know. Jeez. Like brick wall with that ears.
Bravo to you, good sir. But I got nothing else, so I guess that's where we'll call it an episode. Uh, Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you foremost for tuning into the podcast, and we shall see you next week here on the Hour of Power podcast.
Thank you. Thank you very much.